Sometimes, it's in the smallest moments, a quiet act of compassion, a simple question, a stranger's kindness, where life's most powerful stories unfold. What you're about to hear isn't just a story, it's a reminder of the humanity we all carry inside us. Backhand index pointing right if you believe in second chances. If you still believe kindness can change the world, then like this video, subscribe to Kindness Corner, and share it with someone who needs a little hope today. And don't forget to comment your thoughts, we read every one. The morning the world changed for Ethan Greaves, CEO of Solvex Corp, didn't start with a board meeting or a major merger. It started with a whisper from a child. A whisper so quiet, yet so heavy with consequence, it would ripple through every corner of his life, tearing down the polished walls he had built around himself with money, pride, and the illusion of control. It was a Monday, and as he walked through the glass corridors of the 31st floor, his custom leather shoes echoing with importance, he didn't notice the small boy waiting quietly near the reception area. No one did. Not until the boy tugged lightly on Ethan's sleeve, stood on his toes, and whispered into his ear, "There's a camera in your office." Before we take you deeper into this gripping, emotional journey, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel, Kindness Corner. If you believe in second chances, the power of truth, and how a small act of courage can change everything, this story is for you. The whisper didn't register immediately. Ethan continued walking, consumed by thoughts of the quarterly earnings call and the string of layoffs he had reluctantly signed off on that weekend. The company was bleeding internally, bad leadership in mid-management, budget leaks in marketing, and a toxic culture brewing quietly in the shadows. Ethan had always prided himself on staying above the fray. He wasn't the kind of CEO who micromanaged or walked the floor. That was for HR and department heads. But he wasn't heartless, just busy. Focused. Strategic. Yet something about the boy's words lingered. That whisper. That tone. The boy didn't sound scared. He sounded sad. By the time Ethan reached his private office, floor-to-ceiling glass and marble surroundings shielding him from the chaos below, he paused for the first time that morning. He looked around. Was there, really, a camera? It sounded ridiculous. This was his office, secured, swept monthly by cybersecurity. And yet, driven by a strange curiosity, he began inspecting the room. That's when he saw it, tucked discreetly in a corner of the bookshelf, a small black pinhole lens. Barely noticeable. But it was there. His heart skipped. This wasn't company-issued. This was unauthorized. Hidden. At first, he assumed corporate espionage. A competitor trying to sabotage the company from within. But when the internal tech team pulled the footage, what Ethan saw changed everything. The videos didn't show trade secrets or confidential meetings. No. They showed people. Employees. Alone in his office, unaware they were being watched. There was Helen from accounting, sitting quietly on his leather couch, wiping away tears with shaking hands. Javier from maintenance, holding a piece of paper, a termination letter, his eyes red with disbelief. Claire from marketing, pacing nervously, practicing how she'd beg for her job back. They had all come into his office, not for meetings, but in secret, when no one was around. Some were speaking to themselves. Others were just trying to feel what it was like to be in power, to be in control. It was heartbreaking. But the footage that shattered Ethan's soul was of a janitor. A woman in her 50s, Maria, the night cleaner. She entered his office around 2 a.m., holding a small birthday cupcake with a flickering candle. She sat down, looked into the void of the room, and whispered, "Happy birthday to me." Then she blew out the candle and cried. She didn't know she was being watched. She didn't know her sadness was recorded, sitting quietly on a hidden drive, uncovered by the words of a child. That child, who was he? Ethan called security to track the boy who had spoken to him earlier. They combed through footage from the morning, and there he was, small, maybe 6 or 7 years old, with tousled brown hair and an oversized backpack. He had entered the building alone, said nothing to anyone, and left just minutes after speaking to Ethan. No parents. No visitors pass. Nothing. Ethan couldn't focus the rest of the day. That night, he sat alone in the office, watching the recordings again and again. Not as a CEO. As a man. As someone who had forgotten what pain looked like when you weren't privileged enough to hide it behind polished shoes and performance reviews. He thought about Maria. About all the people who passed through this building like ghosts, unseen, unheard. The next day, Ethan did something no one expected. He called an emergency company-wide meeting in the main atrium. Hundreds of employees gathered, confused, murmuring. Some feared another layoff round. But what they got was something else entirely. Ethan stood at the podium, voice raw and heavy. He didn't speak like a CEO. He spoke like a human being who had just opened his eyes. He played the footage. Yes, all of it. In front of the entire company. There were gasps. Some people turned away. Others cried. I didn't know, Ethan said, and that's the problem. I didn't want to know. I had built these walls, luxury, titles, decisions made from spreadsheets, not stories. Not people. I failed you. And I'm sorry. Then he did what no one saw coming. He fired the top 5 executives on the spot, those responsible for creating the toxic, fear-driven environment that made people sneak into an empty office just to cry. He rehired 3 employees who had been let go unfairly, including Maria. He created a new fund for staff mental health and career development. He started a tradition, 1 open hour a day where anyone could walk into his office and speak, no appointments, no hierarchy. But Ethan didn't stop there. He launched an internal investigation. And that's when they discovered the truth behind the camera. It wasn't corporate sabotage. It had been placed there over a year ago by an IT contractor who had since disappeared, quietly installing it to expose the soul of the company, something he believed Ethan would never see on his own. A silent protest. A mirror. A week later, Ethan received a letter in the mail. No return address. Just a handwritten note, "My name is Tyler." The boy who whispered. "Maria is my grandma. She raised me alone. I saw the video by accident one night when she left her cleaning tablet at home. I knew you had to see it too. I hope you're different now." Ethan wept. He kept the note framed on his desk. He met Maria personally and held her hand when she cried from disbelief. He even visited local schools, hoping to find Tyler and thank him, but he never did. The boy had come and gone like a whisper, changing the entire culture of a company, and the heart of a man, with one quiet truth. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, subscribe to Kindness Corner, and share it with someone who still believes in goodness, accountability, and change. These stories matter, not because they're dramatic, but because they're real. Because they remind us that even the smallest voices can bring the biggest transformations. Speech balloon comment below, what would you do if you discovered a hidden camera capturing the pain of people around you? Let's talk about courage, compassion, and the power of doing what's right, no matter how late.